Hello everyone, my name is Dan and welcome to my channel. I am a UCLA student who is a biology student and I am home for the summer. And I realized that I have a large accumulation of books. So I've challenged myself for a fun summer TBR challenge where I have to finish my mega TBR, which is almost, I think, approximately more than like 100 books. There's a bunch of series, there's a bunch of single books or first books of a series that I just would really like to get into before I buy even more books. So with that being said, I am placing myself on a summer-long book buying ban. This might be really hard for me because I love books. I'm not just a reader, I'm also a book collector. So special edition books have my heart. So this will be a huge challenge for me and I'm quite excited to try this out, and we'll see if we can get through all the books or maybe half of the books by the end of this summer. So I actually have a list here of how I want to structure my summer TBR. So again, the main goal is to reduce my physical TBR before I return back to UCLA in the fall, while also maintaining consistent reading habits. So starting off with, each month will consist of a monthly TBR, which I will show you guys. I have a special wheel constructed that has different prompts. So we'll spin the wheel at the beginning of each month in order to establish a monthly TBR. So this monthly TBR will consist of 6 books. Since we're in June right now, I will actually only keep it to 3 because I literally just finished school. So, and I did not have time to set up a June TBR because I was reading Alchemize and that consumes my whole end of school. So these books, so the monthly TBR will actually become like a priority list. Like I have to get through these books throughout the whole month. They don't have to, they can either be in one shot or they can be spread out throughout the whole month. So each week I'll have a weekly book selection. So the prompt that we use for a monthly TBR will be also utilized for our weekly prompts. So for the weekly prompts, I want to read at least 2 books a week. This might be a bit of a challenge or it might not. I am also taking summer school during this time. So the books that I can include in the weekly book selections are any books that I own that are unread, the monthly TBR, as I mentioned before, book of the month selections, Kindle Unlimited books as well as ARCs, and then also library books. But there's a special thing with the library books is that I can only use my library books for series completion, nothing else. In order to stay on top of my weekly reading goals and to make sure that I can meet this challenge, I will actually have a tally system. Tallies are considered my book buying currency. So to earn tallies, I must read 2 books a week. So that consists of 1 tally. If I read more than 2, and say I read 4 books throughout the whole week, then I can add 2 tallies to my tally list. But I can lose tallies if I do not finish the 2 books for the week. So that will be -1 tally. So every 2 books will be a single tally. So let's talk about series. So for a series, I actually do have a bonus in play for these series. So if I finish an entire series, I do earn a bonus of 3 tallies. So this consists of like finishing a duology, finishing a trilogy, a final unread book in a series that have more than 1 book that has been unread. Like for example, I only read the first book, but I've not read the other books. And I just continue the series and I finish it, bada bang, bada boom, I get +3 bonus for finishing the series. But I do have one rule for this, it does not consist of, say, I only have the last book in that series to complete. I cannot give myself the +3 bonus tallies. That counts as towards the weekly. So if I read 2 books and one of them is one book from that series, and I finish both of my weekly reads, then that counts toward 1 tally, but it does not count towards the bonus. So if it's kind of like, because I do have a lot of series where it's like I only need the last book to finish. So like, for example, the Dirty Air series, I only have the last book that I need to read. That does not count because I already finished the other 3 books and this is just one single book. So that does not count. That counts towards the weekly, like, you know, if I finish 2 books, I get the 2, I get the 1 tally at the end of the week. Is series can only earn the bonus once. So if I've already read the series, I cannot reread the series to get the bonus. So once I finish the series, the bonus is given to me. And another thing is, again, the bonus is awarded when the final book is completed. So for this challenge, what I'm not allowed to buy, so the book buying ban puts me on a summer-long ban. So I cannot buy new books, used books, sale books, special editions, which breaks my heart, and then books that are not included in Kindle Unlimited. If I want to read a book on my Kindle, they either have to be an ARC that has been given to me or something that falls into the Kindle Unlimited subscription. Other than that, I cannot buy like a Kindle book for $9. That's not on Unlimited. That's not okay. And then also impulse buys. So if I'm having a bad mood and I want a book, I'm not allowed to get a book. I have to get something else. I've decided. I do have some additional things. I am in the Book of the Month subscription, which I get a book every single month. One thing is the Book of the Month is allowed. So these can fulfill the wheel prompts, these can count toward the weekly goals, as well as earn tallies. Book of the Month actually does like where you can add on additional books to your monthly book. I am not allowed to do that. That counts as a book, like a separate book that takes my money. Another thing I want to mention is if somebody gives me a gift, that does not count as me buying a book. And if I go buy a book for someone, like as a gift, birthday present, or whatever, that also does not count because it's not for me. So any book that is for me is basically not allowed. But if I'm buying it for a friend or whatever family member, then that does not count. So let's talk about challenge violations. So buying a book consists of me losing 3 tallies. I must complete a punishment prompt, which will be a separate wheel called the punishment wheel. I must complete that. And then I cannot read the purchased book until after the challenge ends. Lastly, let's talk about my tallies. So I'll have a tally bank, which at the end of the challenge, all the tallies that I rack up will count to how many books I am allowed to buy. So 2 tallies will consist of a 1 book purchase. These tallies can be saved until December 31st, 2026, so at the end of the year, and then they do expire. I wanted to let you guys know that if the rules are not clear, I'll be implementing the rules in the description so you guys can follow along just as easily. So this video will always be, you know, recirculating. I will always tell you guys go back so you kind of know what's going on. So again, I'm so excited to start this challenge. Enjoyed this video. Please, please, please don't forget to subscribe and also like. That would mean the world to me, and I'm like so excited to start this. I promise you this is kind of like a lot of talking, but I promise you I will be starting to do weekly vlogs for these parts. It's just in the beginning, I just wanted to share the rules. I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.